Good evening. It is 7:30 p.m., August 15th, 2026. I am Sharon Pierce for NDE Near Desert Experience. And we're talking about water in the Southwest in California and what to do about it and how to make conditions for water work better for population of California, especially in the desert regions. A good part of California is desert, actually, especially in the southern and mid south central valleys. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the congressional race that is upcoming for November 3rd, 2026 in District 20. Bear with me. There it is, just like that. Um, I have to do this another way, though. I tend to forget about all the points. And that's the one I want. And this is the one where it is. Okay, here I am, and here is the map. And this extremely gerrymandered district is Congressional District 20. It's represented by Vince Fong, who, when Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House of Representatives in Washington, resigned, they had a special election for someone to fill his term, and also then shortly thereafter there would be a new election. So Vince Fong was in the legislature up in Sacramento, and he was one of the candidates who ran, and he won a special election to fill Kevin McCarthy's seat, and then he won the seat himself in his own right. So in the primary, he won for his party, which is the Republican Party, and a woman named I've been reading it all day, Van Scotter, won for the Democrats, and there were some other independents and so forth, but they won the top two votes. Right away, that tells you that this district, including Bakersfield's the major city here, is going to vote along party lines. It isn't venturing out yet at this late date to be independent. So big power in the agricultural community, oil and gas, and municipalities and the water districts that represent them. So I want to bring up here a little bit, if I can. Nope, I keep doing that, don't I? Let's try it again. Share, and share alike. Here we go. And here we are sharing. Here I am. And I'm looking at some language down here, which is notes I made as far as where these candidates have commented on water or worked on water issues in the past, what they have to say, and what you can find out there, unless you've heard them speak individually, which I hope you have, and have asked them questions about where they are on water, and if they can move from a party line talking points on water and be very specific as to say the next 2 years in dealing with water. And at the end of this presentation, I will speak of El Nino. So District 20, Sandra Van Otter, in the spring of 2026, she said her priority would be water. Well, really, it's about mental health and the challenge to healthcare by eliminating many of the features of Medi-Cal and so forth, all of that, people who need social support networks, and they were being challenged and supposedly taken away to some degree or another by Washington, by the White House. And so that's her real priority. That's what she talks about. But she said in this little chat, debate or presentation, that her priority would be water. She said she plans to reintroduce or co-sponsor a multifaceted water bill package alongside Representatives Jim Acosta and Adam Gray, if they are also reelected. to address the Central Valley's water crisis. Bakersfield would be, it's in Kern County, which is a major county in this district. And it's not way out in the Mojave Desert, it's in the south central San Joaquin Valley and so forth, but it's major when it comes to dealing with water. So we have so many tiny little rural towns with their little tiny water districts that don't have the funding to fix their problems. And we have a lot of people that are drinking poisoned water, she said. I'm going to change something here for just a moment. And I'm going to share again the map. So here is, this is all a bunch of little, there's either no one there or little tiny towns. That is true. And out here, this is where you get into, down in here, Santa Clarita, Lancaster, Palmdale, down in here. Bakersfield, and then you have this area right here is foothills of the Sierras, and the rivers come down. The rivers come down all along here. You see them there. And there's probably the Kern River there. So she's talking about all these little tiny towns, and so are we all. And the people in them, as well as the people in Bakersfield and the surrounding suburbs and so forth. Okay, and now moving a little bit farther down. Oops. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do here? Zoom. Here I am. See, this is a learning. You must do what you must do. Share. Here we are. Here I am. And my little script. And the other side of the fence is Vince Hall. So notice what she said up here about she wants to work with a couple other representatives in the general South Central California area to work on the multifaceted problems of water. Vince Fong, who said he worked with local counterpart Representative David Valadao, that was District 22, and Adam Gray, and I don't see that I'm not sure which offhand. I can't tell you his district. I didn't write it down, but it's in the same area. If they are also reelected to address the Central Valley's water crisis. Vince Fong said he worked with local counterpart Representative David Valadao. He's from Hanford. I'll point out where Hanford is in a moment. Fong said he was able to secure roughly, and when you look at David Valadao's history and so forth, things on his Facebook page, he generally takes credit for all of this. But Fong was able to secure roughly $450 million for Central Valley water infrastructure, including $200 million for the Friant-Kern Canal, $235 million for the Delta Mendota Canal, and $40 million for raising the Shasta Dam and Reservoir, which is way up north, just to say. So I'm going to move from that for a moment. I'm coming back here to share the map again. Okay, so if you have Fresno, which is up around here, the Friant Canal is down around here, and Hanford is around in here. So that's David Valadao's district. So that's what we're talking about. Okay. Share again. And I also want to mention that we picked up some Tehachapi water issues that are very important in this race. Tehachapi is a pass between, say, going out into the Mojave Desert, crossing the famous Highway 395 on the east side of the Sierras and going up across Tehachapi. There's a town up there. It's in the lower reaches of the Sierras, not high, but you drive. It's built on the side of a mountain, and it's a little southeast of Lake Isabella, which is a famous place people go to relax and so forth. So Tehachapi has its own water issues. It's up high in the mountains, and so that is one of the areas that should be, in my opinion, brought up if you can, with each of these candidates, and see if you can get them to make an individual statement, not off party talking points, but their own, what they've learned so far. What have you learned about the Tehachapi Water District problems, and what can you say about any efforts you would put into at least educating your voters and educating Congress on the needs of preserving this area against the coming water devastations that are projected. The other one is there's a big development going out in this area. It's called the Sage Ranch development. It's been going on, they've been just in court for years, since about 2021, really, to get all their papers and their filings in court, and then what was accepted and what was rejected, and what the judge says to go back and get more of. Especially Sage Ranch was faulted for not following through on what is required in environmental impact studies. That's EI report, EIR. So Sage Ranch is a big development, big developers, and it's about dense housing. And I live in an area where there's some supposedly very nice townhomes built about 20, 24 years ago. It's dense townhomes, maybe five feet on either side of your building to the next building. And there are issues with that. But in this particular case, they're dealing with the water issues for this Sage Ranch. And if you want to, you can follow the saga of Sage Ranch. And they're going back to court again not pretty soon. So later on, I want to bring up some public policies issues regarding Sage Ranch as well. They're dealing with that. So I'm going to pause for a moment because I want to remove this script. Okay, here we are. About El Nino. Just to let you know, I'm going to skip way down to the bottom of this article. SF Gate, that's San Francisco Gate. You don't have to be a subscriber. Here's Fresno, here's Sacramento. And you get down, you get Tehachapi is right in through here. Bakersfield is right over here. Here is where they are talking about, I want to get to this person, Josh Willis, a senior research scientist for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, said that the El Nino that everyone is talking about, and living right here in along the coast north of Los Angeles, I've been watching this, sensing this, knowing we haven't had any rain. So I already knew that El Nino's slow to get going. He told SF Gate that the event got a slow start compared with previous notable El Ninos based on sea level metrics. I would call this El Nino a late bloomer, Willis said. A lot of people predicted a really huge El Nino, and it could still be. But right now, it's smaller than the 2015 El Nino in July, and it's way smaller than the 1997 was in July. So where it's going to land in this biggest category, Willis says it's unlikely to be the strongest El Nino in 30 years, but it'll wind up being pretty strong. Now, going back up, when we start seeing what the article has to say, I've heard that it said between 81% and 91% possibility of a very strong El Nino, and that it's already here, but you're just seeing little wisps of clouds and rainfall here and there. And one place where the rainfall, there's a pattern that I see, and I don't think it used to exist, but maybe some would say. And it goes sort of up north of the San Fernando Valley, goes, it forms up, comes into California, goes up, not much rain, but it formulates into a larger rain pattern over the eastern Mojave Desert, especially Death Valley. It's strong on Death Valley. They get rain there. They get much more rain than we're getting on the coast. Then it goes up into Nevada and makes an arc over Las Vegas, and it keeps going up somewhere around St. George, over St. George, arcing around St. George, and then into Utah. That's a pattern I have seen as a regular thing, and they're getting more rain than we have down here in our area. So NOAA, National Weather Services Prediction Center, says El Nino conditions will linger through early 2027. I cannot recall a time in my career where the model guidance has been so consistently predicting a strong to very strong El Nino, said Michel Giroux, who is he's on the team for the Climate Prediction Center. And this is showing the sea surfaces. The sea surfaces in red, higher than normal, and so forth. That's what it looks like from the satellite. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory processed this picture from satellite data. El Nino, just to remind everyone, is the warm phase of a pattern that develops in the tropical Pacific Ocean. Weak trade winds are associated with above average surface temperatures. The other phase, La Nina, brings stronger winds that promote cooler ocean conditions. The pattern alternates irregularly with neutral phases in between. This year's El Nino drives up the chances of extreme weather events like heat waves, drought, and heavy rainfall in many parts of the globe. The WMO has launched an unprecedented mobilization to coordinate activities and at regional level to support governments, humanitarian organizations, and climate-sensitive sectors. And that was said by the Secretary General Celeste Saulo in a recent statement. Advanced seasonal forecasts and early warnings are vital to save lives and cushion the impact. So just to say, we are certainly getting updates, warnings, information, and claims that we will all be, protected here. Let me pause this for a moment. Maybe I can't. Well, let's see what happened. So that finished what I wanted to say, but I was talking about Congressional District 20, and it's in South Central California, and it's dominated by agricultural interests, and they have for many decades worked and worked and worked and worked to have water boards and irrigation districts for all these little areas where the towns are, and irrigation canal oversight so that everybody can benefit from all this planning, at knowing what to do, what to save, what to protect when El Nino comes and possibly brings heavy atmospheric rivers. I will make one final comment. I didn't have it in that script, but earlier, Sandra Van Otter did make a statement in an earlier debate or public statement when she was appearing somewhere, that she was considering that it might be a favorable thing to do where certain districts could sell water to other districts, certain municipalities, uh, certain congressional districts, or just water districts, that there could be some selling and trading, that she was open to thinking about selling and trading. My personal thought is it's dangerous. It's dangerous to linger too long on the thoughts of selling out or trading off something that you really need to be in control of, seasoned, and practiced in managing. And that's all that I have to say. I'm a layperson. I'm interested in the subject. Why not learn more about water where you want to be, where you want to populate, where you want to have your home, and maybe in areas around the desert that are growing in popularity. It's wise to really be knowledgeable about all matters water. Thank you.